What if the greatest horrors humanity ever conceived weren't born from imagination, but from memory? What if every witch trial, every burning, every midnight whisper of dark magic was just an echo of something older, deeper, and infinitely more terrifying than fiction dares to admit? These aren't fairy tale villains. They are the primordial forces that taught civilization what it meant to fear the dark. 5 mythological witches whose origins predate gods, whose power shaped the very architecture of human terror. Each one a gateway between worlds, each one a reminder that some hungers cannot be satisfied and some knowledge should never be sought. Welcome to ancient underworld, where gods fall, monsters rise, and devils whisper through the shadows of forgotten myths. If you enjoy exploring the dark side of mythology, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another forgotten tale. Before gods claimed dominion, before light divided from shadow, Hecate emerged from primordial chaos as the only deity Zeus feared to challenge. Ancient Anatolian texts describe her birth not as divine conception, but as the space between, the terrible presence that exists in thresholds, transitions, and the moments when reality grows thin. But what kind of power could make the king of gods himself tremble? She was never created, she simply was, waiting in the darkness between worlds. Her origin lies in humanity's first understanding that some places are more dangerous than others, that crossroads at midnight hold more than just intersecting paths. She is the personification of choice itself, the moment when safety becomes danger, when the familiar becomes the unknown. What makes her truly ancient isn't her age, but her role as the architect of decisions. Have you ever stood at a crossroads and felt like something was watching you decide? Every crossroads carries her presence, every choice echoes her whispers. Hecate manifests in 3 forms simultaneously: maiden, mother, crone, each face witnessing past, present, and future in perpetual judgment. At the crossroads, her 3-headed silhouette tears through the veil between worlds, surrounded by hellhounds with molten eyes and the screaming spirits of those who died in agony. She feeds on offerings left at midnight intersections, but ancient practitioners whispered she prefers the final breath of those who invoke her carelessly. Her midnight hunts terrorized the ancient world, leading phantom processions through sleeping cities, marking witnesses for madness or death. But what happens when mortals witness something they were never meant to see? The sound of her approach echoes like distant thunder, yet her footsteps leave no trace on earthly ground. Those who glimpse her procession report time fracturing around them, minutes stretch into hours, while years compress into heartbeats. Furthermore, her worship spread like an infection throughout the Mediterranean. Secret cults performed blood rituals in her honor, leaving archaeological evidence that still puzzles modern scholars. What drove ancient people to risk everything for her favor? Medieval grimoires list her as one of the most dangerous entities to summon, warning that her price always exceeds expectation. Even today, modern practitioners report encounters with 3-faced shadows at remote intersections, and offerings still mysteriously appear at ancient crossroads sites. Yet here's the twist: what makes Hecate truly terrifying isn't her power over death, it's her role as choice itself. Every crossroads decision, every moment between safety and danger, every threshold crossed in darkness carries her presence. Ancient wisdom warns that when standing at intersections after midnight, you are never truly alone. But the question remains: are you choosing your path, or is she choosing for you? She waits, she watches, she offers power to those desperate enough to pay her price. From the primeval forests of pre-Christian Slavic lands emerges Baba Yaga, a figure so ancient her origins predate written language. Archaeological fragments suggest she began as death shamanism personified, the terrible understanding that in the untamed wilderness, humans are not masters but meat. She was born from humanity's first encounter with forests that hunger, with nature that views civilization not as progress, but as an appetizer. Her origin story tells of the first winter so harsh that the forest itself grew teeth. When the last village elder died of starvation, the wilderness absorbed her wisdom, her cruelty, and her infinite patience. What emerged was neither human nor beast, but appetite given form, the forest's own hunger walking on stolen legs. But what happens when nature itself becomes the predator? As a result, Baba Yaga travels in a mortar of human skulls, steering with a pestle of femur bones, sweeping her tracks with a broom of human hair. Her hut walks on massive chicken legs, spinning through forests like a predatory spider, its windows glowing with captured souls. The fence surrounding her dwelling is built from the bones of previous visitors, topped with skulls whose empty sockets track every movement. Most disturbing, the grinding sound that follows visitors isn't grain being processed, it's bones being prepared for consumption. Her iron teeth, filed to razor points, can tear through steel and bone with equal ease. Ancient texts describe her voice as the sound of winter wind through dead trees, carrying promises that taste like ash and smell like old graves. Additionally, across Eastern Europe, her stories served as warnings about straying from safe paths. Remote villages still report sightings of impossible structures moving through deep forests. Hikers describe finding clearings with bone fragments arranged in geometric patterns where no human should have walked. What drives people to venture into places where even experienced woodsmen fear to tread? Modern psychological studies suggest her archetype represents the dangerous feminine that patriarchal societies sought to control through terror. However, what separates Baba Yaga from other forest spirits is her intelligence. She doesn't merely hunt, she tests. Those who approach her hut must prove their worth through riddles, tasks, or demonstrations of respect. Failure means death. Success means survival, though survival often comes with a price that reveals itself only later. The forest remembers its first taste of human flesh, and appetite, once awakened, never truly sleeps. But there's something worse than hunger prowling these ancient woods. Before Eve, before the Garden of Eden became humanity's lost paradise, there was Lilith, the first woman, created equal to Adam from the same primordial clay. Her origin story begins with the first act of defiance in creation's history. When commanded to submit, to lie beneath Adam in all things, Lilith spoke the first no that echoed through eternity. But what price does defiance carry when it challenges the very order of creation? For this crime, demanding equality in paradise, she was cast into the void between worlds, transformed from woman into something far more dangerous. Ancient Mesopotamian tablets describe her earlier incarnation as a wind demon who brought death to pregnant women and stole children from their cradles. But her true origin lies deeper. She is the shadow side of creation itself, the part of the feminine that refuses control, domestication, or silence. Her rebellion became the template for every act of defiance against divine authority. Consequently, Lilith appears as an impossible beauty, with wings of living shadow and talons that tear through flesh and soul. Her voice seduces saints to damnation and drives the faithful to madness. She flies through darkness on wings that sound like screaming wind, seeking pregnant women and newborns to claim as tribute. Her shape-shifting abilities make her the ultimate predator. She infiltrates dreams, appears as desired lovers, and drains life force through intimate encounters that leave victims as withered husks. Ancient texts describe her nocturnal visitations, producing demon children who inherit her hunger for human suffering. These offspring, called Lilim, serve as her agents in the mortal world, spreading her influence through seduction and corruption. They appear as perfect lovers, ideal partners, irresistible strangers who offer everything the heart desires while slowly consuming the soul. How do you recognize perfection when it comes with such a terrible price? Nevertheless, Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions all attempted to diminish her power through demonization, yet she persisted. Medieval grimoires list elaborate protections against her influence, amulets, prayers, and ritual barriers around birthing chambers. Despite these efforts, her power only grew stronger in the shadows cast by suppression. What happens when suppression only feeds the thing you're trying to contain? Modern occult traditions whisper of contemporary encounters, women who vanish after meeting mysterious strangers, babies who disappear from locked rooms, men found dead, wearing expressions of impossible ecstasy and terror. These aren't mere superstitions, they're patterns that repeat across cultures and centuries. Indeed, Lilith never retreated into myth. She waits in the spaces between desire and fulfillment, between fantasy and nightmare. Her rebellion continues in every act of defiance, every refusal to submit. Freedom, she reminds us, has teeth, and those teeth remember the taste of paradise lost. On the island of Aeaea, where sunlight touches earth and magic flows like wine, Circe was born to Helios, the sun god, and the ocean nymph Perse. Her origin story tells of a child raised in divine isolation, discovering her gift for pharmakeia, the brewing of potions that could transform reality itself. But ancient texts reveal a darker truth. Circe didn't learn magic to gain power. She learned it to survive the terrible knowledge that all beauty is predation, all hospitality is hunger. Her divine blood came with a curse, the ability to see through every mask, to recognize the beast lurking beneath every civilized facade. Driven mad by this constant revelation of human hypocrisy, she retreated to her island to practice the only honest magic she knew, showing people what they truly were. But what would you do if you could see everyone's true nature hiding behind their polite smiles? For this reason, Circe's palace serves as an elaborate trap of seduction and revelation. Wine contains memory-erasing compounds. Food binds visitors to her will, and songs carry enchantments that cloud judgment and weaken resolve. Her island swarms with transformed creatures who retain human consciousness, while trapped in animal bodies, lions, wolves, bears, and swine who remember their former lives but cannot reclaim them. These transformed beings serve as both entertainment and warning. This is what lies beneath civilization's mask. Her potions don't merely change flesh, they strip away social conditioning, reveal primal desires, and expose the savage hunger behind every polite smile. The most terrifying aspect isn't the transformation itself, but the clarity it brings. Victims understand exactly what they've become and why they deserve it. Can you imagine being forced to confront your true self without the comfort of self-deception? Furthermore, throughout the Mediterranean, archaeological evidence suggests ritual sites dedicated to transformation magic. Ancient Greek society used her story to warn against uncontrolled feminine power, yet modern psychology recognizes her archetype in every relationship where beauty becomes manipulation. Contemporary accounts describe isolated communities where beautiful women are said to possess unusual influence over visitors, where men vanish for days and return changed, Speaking of revelations they cannot fully remember. What makes Circe's magic particularly insidious is its element of choice. She never forces transformation, she simply provides the circumstances where true nature reveals itself. Her victims choose to drink the wine, eat the food, and accept her hospitality. The magic merely strips away the pretense they maintained in civilized society. How many of us would make the same choice, knowing what we know? Above all, Circe's most disturbing legacy isn't her power to change men into animals. It's her ability to prove they were animals all along. The mirror shows truth, and truth has claws that leave scars on more than just flesh. From the mist-shrouded lands of Celtic Britain comes Morgan Le Fay, born of royal blood but shaped by ancient magic. Her origin story begins with tragedy. The bastard daughter of Uther Pendragon, watching her mother die in childbirth, raised by priestesses of the old religion, while her half-brother Arthur inherited a crown that should have been shared. Her training in the mystical arts wasn't just education, it was preparation for revenge that would span decades. But what happens when genius-level intelligence combines with a lifetime of justified rage? Her true origins trace to the Morrigan, Celtic goddesses of war and death, whose ravens fed on battlefield corpses and whose prophecies shaped the fate of kings. Morgan embodies the collision between Christianity and paganism, between the new world Arthur tried to build and the ancient powers that refused to die. As well, Morgan masters shape-shifting beyond mere physical transformation. She becomes anyone, infiltrates any relationship, sows discord through assumed identities. Her most terrifying forms involve appearing as loved ones, using intimate knowledge to destroy from within. Her expertise in healing doubles as mastery of poison, the same hands that cure mortal wounds, brew draughts that drive victims to madness. She practices necromancy, binding spirits to her will, communicating with the restless dead who serve her purposes. Most disturbing is her manipulation of time and memory, trapping victims in temporal loops, erasing crucial memories, and forcing them to relive failures eternally. Her victims never realize they're caught in her web until the moment she chooses to reveal herself. How would you know if your memories belong to you or were planted by someone else? Unlike other mythological witches who operate from wilderness or otherworldly realms, Morgan moves through courts and castles using social connections as weapons. She understands that the most devastating attacks come from within, that trust makes the perfect weapon when wielded by patient hands. What makes betrayal from a trusted ally so much more destructive than an obvious enemy's attack? Similarly, Arthurian legends spread throughout Europe, carrying her archetype into countless variations. She became the template for every dangerous woman who hides power behind respectability. Modern psychology recognizes her in toxic relationships where manipulation masquerades as love, where patient predators spend years positioning themselves for maximum destruction. Her greatest weapon isn't magic, it's time. While others seek immediate gratification, Morgan plants seeds of destruction that bloom years later. She plays games measured in decades, not moments. Her victims live entire lives thinking they've escaped her influence, only to discover in their final moments that every choice they made served her purposes. Let's be clear, Morgan's greatest horror lies in her patience. In a world built on trust, she reminds us that our greatest enemies wear familiar faces while harboring ancient hatreds. Betrayal wears many masks, but the most dangerous one is love. And love corrupted by ambition becomes something far worse than hate. These aren't just mythological monsters. They are humanity's deepest fears made manifest. Uncontrolled feminine power, loss of identity, forces beyond understanding. From Hecate's crossroads to Morgan's patient betrayal, each embodies shadow aspects civilized society desperately suppresses. Their stories persist because the fears remain relevant. In every age, these archetypes resurface, reminding us that some terrors transcend time. They wait in the spaces between light and shadow, in the moments when civilization's mask slips, in the quiet hours when ancient hungers stir. The ancient ones whisper in dreams, shape nightmares, and wait at thresholds between what we know and what we are afraid to discover. Whether myth or memory, their power over human imagination remains absolute. These are the darkness that defines the light, the chaos that gives order meaning. Some doors should never be opened, but curiosity has always been humanity's greatest weakness, and they are always listening. If this journey into humanity's darkest nightmares left you questioning what else might be lurking in the shadows of history, smash that like button and subscribe to Ancient Underworld. Hit the notification bell so you never miss when we uncover the next terrifying truth the ancient world tried to bury. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 witches disturbed you the most? Or do you know of other ancient terrors that deserve to be remembered?